From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic is China investing in Nevada. We'll tell you about one Nevada leader's work to help form a clean energy partnership between China and the solar, wind, and geothermal state. And that leader is my guest today, Nevada U.S. Senator Reid. Thanks for being here again.
Glad to be here again.
Thank you. He says Nevada's abundant resources of sun, wind, and geothermal make it a natural choice for international investment. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll tell you why Senator Reid says Chinese companies are weighing serious investment in Nevada's clean energy sector. We'll tell you how this plays into Nevada's role in increasing the United States' energy independence. And we'll tell you about the senator's work with the Department of Energy that he predicts will energize the Nevada economy. China isn't investing so heavily in clean energy just because it's good for the environment. It's doing so because it's good for the economy. That's what Senator Reid told the press in late April when he and 9 colleagues returned from a week's worth of meetings with high-level Chinese government officials and business and other leaders. After the trip, which included a visit with the mayor of a city of 14 million that is a leader in China's renewable energy efforts, the senator reiterated the 2 clean energy points he's been making about China for months: that China knows clean energy creates jobs, and that in reducing the country's reliance on oil, clean energy makes it more secure. But this trip might have been specifically affected Nevada's role in clean energy production. While Chinese company A Power decided to invest in a Nevada project in 2010, the senator has hinted to the press that deals are in the works for further Chinese investments in Nevada renewable energy ventures. And Senator, you've said you can't say much about this because it's in negotiation and regarding land and other components of this deal, but what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you the reason China is doing this is good for their economy and good for their environment. I'd been to China 25 years ago, and to come back 2.5 decades later and to see the changes in that country was unbelievable. When I was first there, the hotels were almost non-existent. The people were riding bicycles and walking. Now, massive industrialization has taken place. They're now driving cars, bullet trains, buses. It's amazing. And they have a lot of pollution. And they're interested in renewable energy because they want to lessen their dependence on foreign oil, and because they don't have much oil of their own, and certainly coal, which is now limited in China. They want to get away from that to save people's lives. The smog there is hard to comprehend. And so they have been doing a lot of very interesting work with solar, especially solar, and that's why I was interested. And we have we have one project, A Power, that's already started some stuff in Las Vegas. They are supposed to do more. We have another project that will make that one look very small if it comes to be, and I think it's 80% done now.
Great.
But, you know, I'm glad I went to China for a lot of different reasons, but I want your viewers to also understand we don't need China to do renewable energy in Nevada. We can do just fine without them.
Tell us a little bit about, you visited in a city called Chengdu, and you met with the mayor there, and it's a city of about 14 million, and they are leading the way in China's renewable energy effort. What did you see there that surprised you when compared to your trip, obviously, many years ago, and also, too, what Nevada and the United States can take away?
One of the things they're doing at that facility is a lot of research. And that's why I worked hard to have the research park as it relates to solar up at the Nevada test site, which that is now in existence. But they're really spending a lot of money on research and development of renewable energy, and that's what that facility is for.
Now, you did visit with the folks of A-Power Generation System, and that is the corporation that last year said it planned to be a partner in a wind turbine manufacturing plant in southern Nevada. Is there any indication of an interest in future investment with Nevada?
Yeah, I think that they're going to do something, but China they don't invest in Nevada and around the country just to be nice people. They do it to make money.
Sure.
And they have two major ways of operating in China. One, they do have a private sector that is totally private. It's not very big, but it's there. And the company that we're dealing with, that we expect to do great things in Nevada, is one of those unique privates. It's all free enterprise. It's theirs. The Chinese government doesn't have much to do with it. Most of the business, though, in China is government related. They're involved in virtually everything. And that's why this one company was so interesting to me. It's a company that is just like Westinghouse or Ford Motor Company.
And we're going to get more into this in our next segment, but for now, tell us, what was your overall impression of China's clean energy focus?
They have a long ways to go.
Well, but you did mention in some press releases that you put out right after this trip that they are aggressive or suddenly
they're very aggressive
in their clean energy focus.
They're very aggressive. They're very aggressive. They're doing clean energy around the world, not only in China but around the world. Their fingerprints are on many different projects around the world as it deals with renewable energy.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to tell our viewers why Senator Reid says his impressions of China's aggression made him think that this country needs to keep pace, step up. We'll be right back after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Brought to you by the Southern Nevada Water Authority, the National Mining Association, the Frias Companies, Caesars Entertainment, NV Energy, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Western Lithium Corporation, and Skyline Restaurant and Casino.
Sunrise, the Mojave Desert. Just another day in southern Nevada? Think again, pal. Millions of concerned citizens are throwing in to conserve water. Yes, from the welcoming hills of Boulder City to the friendly streets of Spring Valley, everyone's playing their part. Way to go, Joe. It's a desert out there. Be water smart. Go to snwa.com.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Heads we go, tails we stay. A coin flip. That's how it all began for what is now Nevada's largest transportation provider. Charlie Frias, with a can-do spirit and support of his loving wife Phyllis, bought ABC Union Cab in 1966. They then parlayed 5 cabs into a fleet of nearly 1,000. And today, Frias has over 2,000 employees and was recently voted Las Vegas's best company to work for. Frias, safe, reliable, simply the best.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals, too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of the potential for China and Nevada to be partners in clean energy production. My guest today is Nevada U.S. Senator Harry Reid. Now, Senator Reid says he returned from that trip to China with the impression that that nation soon would be leading the world in solar, wind, and other clean energy production. The senator told reporters after the trip he was impressed with China's aggressive investments in renewable energy and added that China's action compelled the U.S. to keep pace. China is the world's biggest energy consumer, and by 2035, it's expected to increase its energy demand by 75%. But the U.S. is the biggest per capita energy consumer. The average American uses 5 times as much energy as the average Chinese. China imports more than half of its oil, much more than we do, but we use a lot more gas. Just California's gasoline and diesel use tops China's total use. China is the world's largest consumer and producer of coal. Coal makes up 70% of its total energy supply versus 30% here. One more for you. By 2030, China's carbon dioxide emissions could equal the entire world's CO2 production if China's carbon usage keeps pace with its economic growth. But Senator Reid says his trip showed him Chinese officials are getting it. And Senator, here's what you said about the U.S. needing to learn from China's recent strong focus on renewable energy. You said, quote, "With our vast renewable energy resources and American ingenuity, we cannot afford not to be a globally competitive leader in this important area."
It's very true. I just had a meeting a few minutes ago with the mayor of Boulder City. They have, between Railroad Pass and Searchlight, a vast amount of renewable energy projects. That's their land. We made a deal with them a number of years ago, and they got this federal land. Thousands of megawatts of electricity are being produced there. They will shortly have more electricity being produced at the one site than at Hoover Dam. And they have a long ways to go. But to show why we have to be competitive with China, we're now running into a problem with the federal government. They bought this land, they paid money for it, bought it from the federal government. Now the federal government is talking about wanting some kind of a right-of-way through that. They don't need it, they don't want it, they shouldn't want it. And so I'm going to go to the mat and work with Interior to get rid of that. They have 1,100 megawatts that are already designed, paid for. They have power purchase agreements with this. That's a lot of power, and they have the opportunity, if we get rid of the federal government in this and doesn't mess them up, to produce thousands of more megawatts of electricity right there.
Well, that might answer my next question. I mentioned, you said the U.S. should be compelled to keep pace with China in renewable energy development. I was going to ask you, what's the reality about, the U.S. keeping pace? I was going to say, how is Nevada and the nation doing regarding its own aggression? Sounds like Nevada's doing fine regarding its own aggression.
We're doing okay, but not like we should be doing. The potential for renewable energy is significant. But the power companies around America are monopolies. That's the way they are. That's the way they were set up. And they don't like this cheap power unless they're the ones that have some ability to control it. I've been working with NV Energy to try to work through that problem. I've had a conversation with Michael Yakira. I think the Public Service Commission of Nevada should recognize that you should not necessarily go with the lowest price all the time, because the lowest price might not be the debate between natural gas and solar or wind or geothermal, because the real economic number we should look at is what does it do to our community. And I think that with the volatility of natural gas, we would be better off, even if it cost a little bit more to go with solar, sun, or geothermal, doing that than going with the old-fashioned methods. But the Nevada Public Service Commission has not been very good at doing that.
Quickly taking us back to China for just a moment. I was in Beijing 6 years ago, and I recall there were a lot of cars, but I've been told that just in the 6 years since I've been there, the amount of pollution has dramatically risen, the amount of cars dramatically risen. So many folks driving. It's been so dependent on coal and oil. And you've said the Chinese government is getting it, that clean energy, it's not only good for the environment, but as you said, it's good for the economy as well.
Well, that's certainly true. With China, we look at them as we want to be like them. We don't want to be like China. We want to be like us. We have the ability to do so many things. We have our ability to produce more renewable energy. We have more ability to do that than China. But we need to get rid of government regulation. We need to make it so it's easier to build a power line in America. Right now, the average time for a power line is 19 years in America. We can't have that. And that's why the power line we have going from the north to the south in Nevada is extremely important. We've been trying to do it for decades, and now we have that done, and as we speak, that power line is being built.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about one of the favorite topics of our senator. We're going to talk about the connection between clean energy and jobs. And that's right after this.
Sunrise, the Mojave Desert. Just another day in southern Nevada? Think again, pal. Millions of concerned citizens are throwing in to conserve water. Guests from those hipsters in Henderson to those frolicking families around Lone Mountain, everyone's playing their part. Nice frolicking. It's a desert out there. Be water smart. Go to snwa.com.
Every day, thousands of people in northern Nevada don't get enough to eat. 1 out of 5 children in northern Nevada go to bed hungry every night. But you can do something about it. Catholic Community Services of Northern Nevada has been providing help and creating hope in our community for more than 65 years. By donating food, time, or money, you can make a difference in a hungry person's life. When you make your generous donation to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, you're helping to fight the scourge of hunger in northern Nevada. In these tough economic times, now more than ever, we need to help those less fortunate. To find out how you can donate to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, call, click, or stop by, and together we can end hunger in northern Nevada.
How will new energy technology make our lives better? Will geothermal, wind, and solar energy be a bigger part of our future? Yes. And soon it will all be in our backyard. Learn more at nvenergy.com.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee, Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of China's place in the Nevada leadership role in clean energy production now and into the future. We've been visiting with a big advocate of clean energy, Nevada U.S. Senator Reid. Is clean energy putting a needed spark in Nevada job creation? Well, it does look that way. In June, the Department of Energy announced a conditional loan guarantee for geothermal project that the governor said not only will increase geothermal power production in Nevada by 25%, but also create more than 300 jobs. Ormat Nevada Incorporated is expected to produce 121 megawatts of clean baseload power from geothermal plants in Pershing, Lander, and Elko counties. Well, that's great news for Nevada. That followed the announcement just a week earlier. The department was making another loan guarantee, this one to support a 20-megawatt AC photovoltaic solar generating facility, which will be the second largest photovoltaic generation facility in Nevada. The project is sponsored by Photo Washoe Renewable Ventures Incorporated will be developed about 25 miles northeast of Las Vegas. It's expected to produce about 55,000 megawatt hours annually, enough to power 47,000 homes. And the project sponsor estimates it'll create 250 jobs at peak construction. And Senator, while you love the cleaner energy angle, I know that right now in this recession, you've got to love the job angle. And, you know, reports did say up to 600 jobs just in those two things I mentioned.
The mayor of Boulder City that I referred to just a short time ago talked about these projects he wants to do and can do in Boulder City will create 2,500 jobs. Wow. The construction period is not really long, but it's longer than you would think. And these are construction jobs that are so vitally important to our staggering economy right now.
And also, too, the A-Power generation system, that wind turbine project, that plant reportedly will employ 1,000 people.
They told us it would, yes. And that's the construction phase. And they'll not only do the construction, we look to them because it's going to be a manufacturing facility, as is the other project we're talking about in Nevada. Those are manufacturing jobs, not construction jobs only.
Well, you've mentioned you mentioned it about China, you've mentioned about the U.S., and you've certainly honed in on it for Nevada in general. You've said for a long time that you believe clean energy equals jobs, and while that's important any time in a recession, that's music to everyone's ears, isn't it?
One of the things, though, that's troubled me in all this, it's so hard to find a place to put a solar array, that is, to put these things on the ground, or to put up a windmill, because everyone says, great idea, but do it someplace else. Well, you can't do that every place else. In one of the weekly publications this week, major article on what Germany is doing. Germany is building big-time wind. They even do a lot of solar, and only 11% of our electricity is produced by renewable sources. Germany, as I recall, the article is 30%. We have more sun. We certainly have as much wind.
Why is it moving there more? Why is it moving more faster in Germany than the U.S.?
They've made their mind up to do it. They get rid of a lot of government regulations. They want to move away from. I met with the Prime Minister, yes, Chancellor. She's Chancellor Merkel. She has said they're doing away with nuclear energy. You have to move away from that, and they're doing it because they want to get it done. They don't want to depend on other countries to supply them their coal and natural gas and diesel fuel.
Well, and it goes into what I was going to say next to as great as the job angle of this is. You know, we do need to mention your other favorite part is the clean part of clean energy, and we should note that, for instance, that solar facility I mentioned, while creating jobs and powering 47,000 homes, it's also going to avoid more than 31,000 tons of carbon pollution each year.
Yes, and the listeners should hear what you said, tons.
Yeah.
Not pounds,
yeah,
tons.
Tons. So it's the clean side of this that's always been big to you as well. What are some other examples you can give of clean energy projects truly impacting the badly hurting Nevada economy and environment?
Well, you mentioned geothermal. Most of the geothermal is in the north, but not all of it. We have some of the facilities in southern Nevada. They've learned that they can drill into the ground and produce renewable energy in the form of geothermal heat. We have windmills that are beginning. I have my home in Searchlight. I have a windmill. I have a solar panel, and I for my home, and I have my brother lives on the same property that I live on. Last month, my power bill was $8.40.
Wow.
And it's not a huge home, but pretty good sized home. Power and heat.
I think all of us would take that bill.
$8.40.
It's a good place to close out that part of the show. We're going to be right back with our mailbag segment. It's right after this.
Sunrise, the Mojave Desert. Just another day in southern Nevada? Think again, pal. Millions of concerned citizens are throwing in to conserve water. Yes, from the sunny folks at Sunrise Mountain to our pals out in Red Rock. Everyone's playing their part. Saving water is fun? I'll say, it's a desert out there. Be water smart. Go to snwa.com.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Built on a fleet of just 5 cabs bought in 1966 by founder Charlie Frias, Frias Transportation is now Nevada's largest transportation provider. Today, Frias has a fleet of nearly 1,000 vehicles and more than 2,000 employees. As an industry and community leader, Frias continues to create the future of transportation technology and management and actively supports the community, continuing the legacy of quality service in the Las Vegas Valley. Simply the best. Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Sunrise, the Mojave Desert. Just another day in southern Nevada? Think again, pal. Millions of concerned citizens are throwing in to conserve water. Guests from those hipsters in Henderson to those frolicking families around Lone Mountain, everyone's playing their part. Nice frolicking. It's a desert out there. Be water smart. Go to snwa.com.
And we are back with the closing segment of Eye on Washington. It is our Mailbag segment. In this segment, we tell you about an issue the Congressional Mailbag page of the Joyce Communications website has been getting a lot of correspondence about. We read one of your letters on the air, and we invite our guests to respond to you right here. And Senator, it happens that you've been getting a lot of mail on our site about clean energy, and I have a letter from Donna from Las Vegas. She writes, "Dear Senator Reid, there's a lot of talk about clean energy. However, the technology seems to be moving very slowly, and given the state of the economy, not everyone is interested in continuing to put money into more research. What is Nevada's plan for managing to help lead this movement while not putting a burden on an already dismal budget crisis?" How do you respond to Donna?
It's important we do, as I've talked about earlier, some research to make sure that we can do a better job of making some of our units smaller and just making them easier to work with. But the issue in Nevada now is not the quality of the geothermal production facilities, solar or wind. The problem is people cannot borrow the money to make these projects work. It's really too bad. If the Public Service Commission was more responsible and would look at these projects as what it would do for our community, not necessarily the bottom line, because right now, in some instances, renewable energy is a little bit more expensive. But the Public Service Commission should look right through that, because we have asthma, which is really bad for little kids and adults in Nevada because of the bad air. Air in Nevada could be made a lot better doing more with renewable energy.
So Nevada could be, as you say, more aggressive in its clean energy efforts and focus if it would get a little help from the federal government and from some of the regulation.
That's right. It takes both to do a good job.
Thank you very much for being here today. Hope to see you soon. You can send a letter to one of Nevada's senators or House members. Go to our website, joycecommunications.com, and check out more federal issues that impact Nevada while you're there. Thanks for joining us today on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington. Have a good day.